Good morning. Good morning. Welcome. Welcome to Facebook Live on Thursday. Just to remind you what day of the week it is, in case you forgot. Thanks for joining me. Let me see if I can find some comments. See if you've all found me and joined me. Oh, good morning, Debbie. You're so quick. Good job. Thank you for that. I like the sunshine emoji on there. I need that today. It's a little cloudy here. Good morning. It is a crazy week for me, but I can't believe it's Thursday already. So Thursday, I have a date night planned with my husband for Friday night. So ready for the weekend. Some more football for the weekend for those of you that we share the love of football. Good morning from Sacramento. Farley, I saw you again at Stamp Joy this year. Welcome. Thanks for joining me. Good morning, Gail and Rachel. Good morning. And then now they just all go really fast, so I apologize if I'm missing anyone. Good morning from Seattle. Yeah, I feel like we have Seattle weather here today, so thank you for joining us, even though it may be sunny or not where you are. Good morning. South Dakota, Southern California. That sounds lovely. We did just decide we're going to go back to our favorite spot in Florida. We were a little nervous because they got hit by the last hurricane, and we just didn't want to be in the way, but it sounds like they are ready, and yeah, they're ready for us, so we're excited. We're gonna go for Christmas. It's nice once my kids now are older, we don't have to be at home for the whole the ritual on Christmas morning, so they're fine just going with us, and we just bring their stockings with us, and yeah. I know it's probably kind of weird not to be in your own home for Christmas, but it doesn't bother us now that our kids are older. I don't know, does your family all get together on Christmas Day, or is it like my family where we get together like the Saturday before or something? Because in my family, we've got so many littles that need to be at home for Christmas Day. So yeah, I'd be curious to know what you guys do. Terry, you said you love my sweater. I thank you, and I will pass that compliment on to my daughter. I'm so short. Here, I'll go like this. You can see a little bit, but that's most of the color to it. It's my daughter Caitlin's sweater, and she put it on, and I was like, I bought it for her, and when I bought it for her, this was the smallest size it was offered in, and I thought it was a little big, but it looked so cute on her, we bought it anyway. So then a few months in, I said, it's too big for you, and I've kept it. So I like it. I like all the color. I don't know if you're a House of Color person, but it happens to be, I'm spring, it happens to be a lot of what they call my colors. So I basically took it from my Caitlin, but I did buy it, so it's mine now. Welcome. There's some that you get together for Christmas, but you'd like to be at home. Oh, we did, when the girls were little, we would do Christmas Eve at my parents' house and then hustle home. But now it's kind of gotten so big that we can't get everyone into a house. We have to rent a hall to get everyone into, which is quite a blessed thing to have a problem with, right? More, you guys like my sweater. I will tell Caitlin, she has really good taste. I'm not sure I would have pulled it off the rack, but as soon as she put it on, I was like, I really like that. And there was only one, so she got it. But it's mine now. So good morning, thanks for joining us. So I know Taylor walked you through all of our pretty new teal accessories this week and tools. They all make me very happy. Crazy enough, I'm super excited about that teal tape holder. Is that the oddest thing to be crazy about? I just love that then I don't have to find the end of it anymore. It's just ready to go. Seriously love it. I love that it's weighty so it stays in place when I go and pull my tape. It's one of my favorite parts. The other thing they want me to tell you is this is the last call for Advent Calendar. If you want it, it is, I'm telling you, it's down to little. So if you want it, get it. But guess what I did? I got myself one this weekend. I was kind of holding out because I know everything that's in it. And I'm a person that really, really loves surprises. But there's stuff in there that I just cannot live without. And I can't live without until, if ever, they release it. So over the weekend, I was like, you know what? I'm doing it. I ordered it, and I'm still gonna stay with it and open it as you guys go, because I have forgotten a little of the things, but there's some of my favorite things I definitely can't live without, and I'm like, I just have to order it. I was on the fence. I should have done it during pre-order, but yeah, so there's very little of those left. And then the last thing to tell you about is November 19th. If you want to save that $30 for Stamp Joy Virtual, make sure you sign up before November 19th. So I can't believe I'm saying that. Like, that's within this time span of our lives, right? November 19th. When did November even start? So, but yeah, so if you want to sign up for Stamp Joy Virtual, and I definitely think you should, and you want to save that money, do that by November 19th. So I see a lot of you, some of you, it's kind of half and half, that you are away or that you're home for Christmas. Oh, I kind of like Rosie's. She goes to her daughter's for Christmas. I kind of would like that. Like, just go to someone else's house. That sounds nice too, because then it would be more cozy than our VRBO. But yeah, I like that idea. My girls are getting older, so that could be a possibility for someday. Not right now. Their apartment right now doesn't have enough furniture to really sit on. So yeah, I like that. So thanks for joining me today. Today we are going to talk about literally my favorite topic, so that's why I did wear my colorful sweater. I am going to talk about color. It is one of my favorite things. I still have to do a color card of this one because I think it would be awesome. I apologize. I think it says Farley said she is very tempted to reach and open up the calendar. Don't do it. Don't do it. We have as adults, I feel like so few surprises in life, especially, you know, I've been married for a lot of years. I won't say how many, but I feel like we don't even do gifts for each other anymore just because it's all coming out of the same bank account. So I kind of like the surprise of the advent calendar, and we worked on it so long ago, I've kind of forgotten about things. I know as it gets closer, that'll all come back to me, but I'm still going to stay and open it with you all one day at a time. So this year at home, Wendy says, well, welcome. Welcome, Wendy. Welcome, Barbara. Welcome. I'm going to swap you down so that we can talk about color today. So I put out just a few samples to start with. I literally love talking color. I love looking around for inspiration on color. But if you are not that kind of person, please make sure that you think about something like the color cube. And we're going to talk a little bit about that, which we just started selling this week at TE. Still some more people rolling in that say hello and good morning. And thank you, Rachel. I have inspiration to both of these cards that I have off to the side here. Some of them are inspiration that I took and then kind of tweaked a little bit. This one was inspired by one of the color cube cards, and I will get into that. This one was inspired by a notebook that I have, a planner, but I do have to tell you I've done 2 different color cards on this because I feel like you can go in a couple of different directions. And with color, that's a big thing. And I'm going to talk about that a lot today, that just trust your own eye, because I feel like we all have different loves when it comes to color. Some of you are what I call the bright colors, and you like the true red. I am definitely not that. I'm more, I won't say muted, but to the softer side of bright colors. I still like red, but I kind of like guava or fruit punch a little bit better because they're not quite so bright and so clean, crisp as like a cherry pop would be. So yes, and Farley pointed out this is something that has been very inspiring to me recently, and I do have a notebook that someone gave me, and I don't have this one all worked out yet, but I'm going to show you the inspiration, not the color, but the inspiration for the card came from a notebook that was a gift, and I am in love with it. I'm obsessed. Have not finished my color card yet, but we're going to get into that. But I loved the dark background on this, and that's what inspired these cards. Also, the layout of this card is inspired by Heather Nichols. She did a toffee card with this same layout, and I just really loved how it turned out. So that's where kind of that dark background came. Not the colors, obviously. the colors for this card came from a notebook. And we recently, just on Tuesday, we had it for pre-release at Stamp Joy, designed the stencil for our inspiration cards. It's called the Swatch Out stencil, and it works with our either True Colors inspiration cards in the halves or the whole, where it's got 2 of them. It works with either one, and I love this, that we did this mainly because there are some colors that we've been a little challenged on getting the cardstock in. So if you're still a person that loves to use the True Colors swatch squares, do that. I know on Tuesday Taylor showed you our little tiny things organization that we used with the labels in it, and then we die cut a bunch of cardstock to kind of keep in each square. So to keep them kind of organized so you don't have to go and cut every single time. So whichever way you like to do it. I kind of am I'm going to be a both person. I'm going to use sometimes ink blending and sometimes cardstock. It really kind of depends on what I have or what works best for me, but I'm going to be fine with storing the 2 of them together in my box. That doesn't bother me at all. So whichever works for you, but I am kind of obsessed right now with using the stencil, mainly because I can get in there to get more of a gradient of color. So like this one, the cinnamon, I can show myself what that looks like from dark to light, and I think that might be my favorite part. So I've been trying to use the longer spot where you can use for notes. You can use, which I do, like this one I wrote that was Color Cube 433. This one I wrote that it was my 2023 planner. But again, like honey is one of those colors when I see the cardstock, let me show you. They coordinate, they go together, they are the same color, but it is so intimidating, I think, sometimes when I look at the cardstock. And we do so much ink blending now that I want to remind myself that honey has all these different variations in it that are just so beautiful. And honey is one of those that now that I've done this and been kind of ink blending these out, we're becoming more friends. It might be, besides sweet corn, which is our other new yellow, I really love the gradients that you can get in there. So we designed all 6 of these so that you can ink blend a whole swatch out, a whole thing, a whole card, without having to clean your stencil. So I can do mint julep, move over to sour gummy, do my avocado, do the last row, and even my honey without having to wash this. As long as I'm careful, I do try to use a smaller brush, whether it be this one or the biddies, whichever works best for you. I find the regular size brushes are great, but I have to be a little bit more careful, and it's a little bit harder to get the gradient of color. So even the regular size square, which is they're about an inch, I believe, or a little shy of an inch, these squares, I can still get a gradient in that sour gummy. Just if I want to see what that looks like. Because I'm also, as I'm going to show you later, a big fan of using a light hand, a medium hand, and a dark hand with one color so that I don't have to think so hard as to what 3 reds might go together. It's just easier to use fruit punch and use a light, a heavy, a light, a medium, and a heavy. So really in love with these. This one I threw gold on just because I kind of wanted to remind myself of the accent that I did for these cards. But sometimes like the gold, sugar cube, Oreo, you can put those on there if that is inspiration to you. Use these cards what works best for you. So this one, again, is my inspiration for these cards. I used the cone flower, and then this is a sour gummy background. I just thought it really made all those bright colors pop. And all of these cone flowers, I actually started, I die cut all of this just with sugar cube, and then came in with my brushes to make the color that I wanted. That way I could get my gradient of honey, which is the centers of these, out of that sugar cube. I could get that light hand, so I could, if you notice all of them, I tried to ink blend from one side to the other of the top of that cone flower. So Anyway, and then this is pink champagne with just a little bit of guava. You can tell I got a little heavier handed with the guava on this one than I did on these. Just kind of gives you a little bit different look. So I really love how they turned out. This one, I had to cut a lot of cone flowers because there's 2 sizes of cone flowers in the package and 3 different stems, but it kind of gives you a chance to kind of play around. I'm really in love with this whole dark background thing. And it's really fun to do with our dyes and stuff. It's a little harder to do obviously with your stencils and ink blending, but with dyes, it's so easy. So let's set that aside. And again, like I said, this is another color swatch, but from the same planner. I'm going to get into showing you kind of my process of picking colors, so we'll get to that. Another thing is, this is my card that we're going to do today, and I mainly picked this one because I want to spend more time talking about color and how I get there and how maybe you can find inspiration. And then I'm going to show you how to do this background. This product was released, the butterfly, the bodies, the stamp was released with the perfect pairings when we asked you all what you wanted to see. This was released then. So this is newer, but the Fluttering Friends stencil and all the coordinating products is older. But I've had questions that people asked how I did my rainbow butterfly card. So I thought it was a good chance to talk color, but also show that, how I created that. So that's what we're going to talk about last, but I'll come back to that. This one. So a lot of people had, especially at Stamp Joy, asked me about the color cube. So I'm going to stop real quick for a second. I want to make sure. Yes, EC's is talking about just that blending. It's really nice to have that little bit longer blend. And I kind of specifically pick a color for the most part that I want to like see all those colors out of. So I just want to make sure I wasn't missing anything. And then also a lot of time, another thing too, to get inspiration, I'm one of those people that I like when I'm out and about, like if I'm at the store, if I'm at Target, I always say if I'm having a bad day, I call it my 5 minutes at Target. So I know everyone has a thing that kind of gets them out of a funk, but if you're just kind of having a bad day and you just need to reset, I call it my 5 or 10. It's usually 10 minutes at Target. It takes you 5 minutes just to get in and back out, but not even to go in to buy anything. I just like to go in and kind of just give it time for my brain to set. And I use that time usually to look at color. And I'm not kidding. It's kind of probably not what everyone does, but it is one of my favorite things, just kind of meander. And even if, usually I try, if I'm just trying to reset, just to go in and look and then I leave, or whatever that might be. If it's your 10-minute walking outside, there's color out there too. Just, get a lot of inspiration from notebooks, so like this one, I have a shopping bag that I had at Stamp Joy. So this is just like a recycle bag. I actually did buy it just because I liked it. It's a recycle bag that I got at TJ Maxx. Just whatever you find inspiration in. You don't have to buy it. Just take a picture of it and go home and match your colors. So this one happens to be from the Color Cube. This happens to be the Color Cube 2. We sell 1 and 2, and I have samples from both 1 and 2. My first thought, and you can completely disagree with me, is Color Cube 1 has more like variation in color, I feel like specifically different colors, and I feel like Color Cube 2 sometimes I get more of like the gradients. There's gradients for all of them on the back. I love them both. I am a person that really loves and enjoys finding color inspiration outside at the store. So if you're someone that doesn't enjoy that, the Color Cube is perfect for that. If you want to like one day say, I'm just going to grab one out and I'm going to go off of it, that's so fun. Or if you're like, I need a color combo that's masculine, go through and find like your greens and blues that you're looking for, or whatever that might be. I have one with this card that I was just trying to be a little more out of the box with my rainbow. So this is still pretty rainbow, But again, I looked through and I found this one and I was like, okay, this is going to get me a little out of my basic colors that I usually use. And the main one is the key lime, was the basic one that got me out of my basic, and I feel like it helped decide the rest of my colors. So with this one, I just really liked the flowers. When I go to my color cube, for me personally, everyone is different though. For me personally, I really try hard to just look at the picture. So if I go through the color cube and I'm trying to get some inspiration or find something, like today I really want to work with hot pink or something, I will go through and find those, but I really have to challenge myself just to look at the picture, because I have found I don't always pick out the colors that have been suggested down the side, and you can totally use those if that works for you. But for me, I will go and like pick something out and be like, okay, this works. This is my color combo. I want to see if I have, hold please, I have something. Let's see if I had it at Stamp Joyce. Let me see. This one. This is it. I found it right off the bat. So this is my favorite example of this. So this is out of Color Cube 1. It's 92. When I looked at this one, I fell in love. I love the pink, I love the orange and the yellow and the green. Those were kind of what my eye was drawn to, and right away I saw dragon fruit. I know that's guava, but the color dragon fruit. Can you see that? Maybe tip it in the light so you get some more of the shine on that. And the colors that they chose were a little different. I see a lot of the pink and the dragon fruit in this one, and the colors down here really aren't those. On the back, some of the gradient gets a little kind of purple in there for that mulberry, but I would really encourage you to really just look at the picture first. If you're someone that's trying to get all of these numbers for your colors and color pencils and that kind of stuff, that is there and it's awesome. And I really love the gradient that they also give on the back in case this is too saturated for you. You've got this down the back. I think it's great. But I would really encourage you to start here. And then also I feel like if you're a TE cardstock or ink person, you're going to start picking out the colors and know where you're headed. So right away for me, I picked out, I would have done like a candy corn, probably sweet corn maybe, and then dragon fruit, and then gone from there, maybe added a green or something like that. But I find it so interesting. This was one of my favorite cards to say, I love this, but I would pick different colors for my color combo. So something to keep in mind when you're looking at these or when you're flipping through. Okay, so for this one, I fell in love with these flowers, and I really loved the dragon fruit. The passion fruit, our passion fruit cardstock is a little bright, I feel like, but the colors just really came together really easily after that. I was trying to get myself out of my pink rut, which I know there's still pink in here, but it got me to grab some purple. So I have the huckleberry, the passion fruit, and then of course Brussels sprout and green tea go together. And then this is an easy combo also, which is our mulled wine, which is very close to this. Our raspberry sorbet has a lot more pink in it than this does. And with the mulled wine, and then the pink champagne is really kind of me just adding a lighter color in. So obviously there's nothing here that even comes close, but I see it in there in some of the lighter tones. And yeah, so if you are into color, just think about it that way. This is our, if you came to Stamp Joy, you got one of these in your goodie bags. This is the Awesome Blossom. And I have had a lot of fun with this just because it's kind of a fun way to take these inspiration cards, blend up a bunch of flowers, die cut them, and then start arranging them. And again, when you do that, make sure you make one set with a light hand, one set with a medium hand, and one set with a heavy hand. And that's exactly what I did here. So you're going to see light, medium, sort of, to heavy on all my colors. So that kind of gave me really quite variation in all of my flowers. So was that pomegranate card 92? I believe so. Where did I set it? Sorry. Yes, 092. It was from 1. Did you like it? Kelly asked. I hope you like it. This is one that really gives me a lot of inspiration. I haven't finished up a card for it. I think I could lose a lot of time if I made up cards for everything that I find that I like in those color cubes. Besides, I have so much in real life to kind of have fun with. So again, back to this one, I just rearranged those flowers. Nothing super, I don't know, earth-shattering that I did, but I thought it was fun to kind of get and enjoy all these tones with those flowers. But again, that was with Awesome Blossom. And that was 41 if that's something you follow. So let me set that aside. So I want to show you, oh, while I have that out, I'm going to show you something that was from Stamp Joy. So there's a gal downstairs that works in our shipping and packaging department. She's a sweetheart. Her name's Wendy, and she has had this phone case every time I go down or walk through the warehouse to grab something. She had her phone in there. She's gotten a new phone, and this case doesn't work for her. But I would always walk by and say, I love that. I love the color combo. I need to make a card out of it. So I probably said it at least 3 times. And she one day said, I have something for you. And she had gotten a new phone. So she gave me her phone case and told me I could have it because she doesn't need it anymore. So I shared it with everyone at Stamp Joy. And this did 2 things for me. One, it gave me permission to make my leaves blue. Is that funny? Like, we don't need permission, right? But it made me go, I can do that. I can do blue leaves. So this is where my color combo was sweet potato is what I decided this was. Peaches. The other thing I want to show you is if we at TE, our colors, don't have the exact color, look for a gradient of it. So our blueberry, this has more depth, but I thought blue corn was really harsh. I didn't want such a dark color in there. And our blue corn kind of has a gray in it, and I felt this navy had bright tones in it. So I really went with my blueberry. And while I have this, I've got to tell you, this is one of my other favorite things that we brought out on Tuesday, is the True Color labels. At home, I just have these cut into squares. Here, we're a little fancier, and we have them cut out with one of our tag stacklets. I cut them out of every color that we have, and I know there's like passion fruit and some of those colors that we don't have. Few options. One, you could cut it out of white cardstock and ink blend it and still put the label on just so you can remind yourself. That's probably what I would do. I think that might be my best suggestion for you, but that would also give you a gradient too if you wanted to do that. But these labels are up to date for all of our colors, which is awesome. So the possibilities are endless. I always say too, some of them are close, maybe not the perfect match. I wouldn't use this to pick my colors because there's a few of them that aren't quite perfectly our colors, but at least they're in the ballpark, right? And the name is on it, so I love that. So I went with the blueberry. And Isis, I know I see you commenting you saw this at Stamp Joy, so this is old news to you. This is the gumball, and then sweet, and again, our gumball, this one's a little more gray, this is a little brighter. Just use your eye, because even if you get this one to match and this one's a little bit better, but you don't like them together, which they are obviously okay together, but make sure you let your eye tell you, nope, I don't quite like that. And then I went with the sweet potato pie and peaches, which of course go together always. And then I picked sea salt. This background has a little something more than white to it, and I thought that gave me just an idea of something to offset the stark white. I'm going to use sugar cube with it, but I have to show you the card. And I know these are flowers and my card is flowers, but everyone got Awesome Blossom in their goodie bag at Stamp Joy, so I wanted to use it, and I really love how the card came out. So this was, again, very similar card layout to this one, because I was just, like I said, playing around with that Awesome Blossom and having fun with my inks and using the gradients. So again, look, I used my leaves. They're blue. Gave me permission to do blue leaves. And then again, here's my peach and sweet potato. Just cut out, I think I did at least 2 sets for both of these, 3 sets, sorry, the light, the medium, and the dark sets for each of these cards, so I have extra to kind of play with later. But isn't that fun? Thank you, Wendy, for your phone case, right? So no inspiration card for that one. This is something, this is probably, I think this is the last color thing I want to chat with you about before I make my card. This was a gift, and the person who gave it to me, it just touched my heart because I'm like, you listen, you know, I love my notebooks. I, of course, loved the gold, that there's some gold on there. I have not worked out my color swatch for this one yet, but I thought I would kind of walk you through kind of my process. So before I turned on the camera, I grabbed some cardstock just to kind of get me in the ballpark and kind of see how we come down with colors on this. I had Concord. Let me see if I can grab it. I also had Concord in my hand, but when I went and put eggplant, which I don't normally use very often, on top of my dried fig, I was like, okay, we're talking now. This is where I want to go. But I will say, when I start with something like this has a whole lot of color in it, I will pick something. And for me, it was dragon fruit, because I love dragon fruit and I find I don't use it very much. It is a little bright for me. And bubblegum, I see the bubblegum in there, and I don't use those two colors a whole lot. I don't tend towards the lollipop. I'm usually a guava and pink champagne or cupcake girl. So I wanted to start with that. So that's my first color. And if that's where you're starting, I think that helps sometimes to pick your favorite, where you're gonna go with it. So I knew right away that I wanted this color to be in here no matter what. So everything has to kind of go with this. My other favorite thing was this kind of this dusty purple and this dark blue background. So I wanted both of those things. So to achieve that, right away, my dried fig matched great, and I was happy about that. And this is a little dustier than this, but I think once I ink blend, I will be fine with it and it will come together. But this could go if I decide I don't like it, because like I said, my most important thing is this color. So this background, this darker, it's kind of a navy blue or a blue corn, but I just didn't like, again, how that is kind of more dusty and more, I was going for the bright feel. I wanted to take on these bright colors. So the navy blue wasn't where I was headed with this. So eggplant, which I never use, is my next color that's going to be my absolute. Then I can kind of keep building from there. I love blueberry. It's one of my favorite often, and I feel like it really works. So I was, okay, I've got these three. This can still be like a maybe color. It can be, sometimes I'll even put my maybe colors in the notes down the side. If I'm like, yeah, I kind of like that, I might put it down the side if it's a sometimes color. Does that make sense? Sometimes I'll use it or I can ignore it. So I'm good with this, and I feel like this is still, these three are still giving me that bright that I really wanted to play off of. Some sort of teal would be great because it's very prominent in here. So I grabbed confetti cake, which I always love, and blue raspberry, which I always love. And then I thought I had grabbed Cookie Monster, because I felt like one of these colors should really work well in here. And honestly, I usually tend towards confetti cake, but there's something that I don't love about these two together. So even though my heart loves confetti cake a lot, I think I might go back here to Cookie Monster. What do you think? I'm gonna wait and let you guys decide. Cookie Monster, confetti cake. There's something a little too cool and a little too bright about this one for me. But again, it can be over here with my dried fig as a question mark. And blue raspberry is right there with my confetti cake as an always color for me. And if I wanted to go darker, I feel like that is a really good option. That one's kind of hard for me because then I want my confetti cake in there. I might go back to blue raspberry. I feel like I'm getting, this is a little darker, but the Cookie Monster just, I'm not sure what it is. I think it's that this one's brighter for me. So what do you think? Cookie Monster. Okay, you guys are going Cookie Monster over confetti cake. Now we have to say Cookie Monster over blue raspberry. Help me out with that one. And it could be my sometimes color, but I'll put Cookie Monster or confetti cake away. We'll get rid of that one. Then I will say I did bring my guava with me just in case, but I'm really gonna, I see it in this tone right here with these, but I really kind of, that's my always color. And I'm kind of trying to blue raspberry over Cookie Monster. Oh, now I have it going both ways. That's hilarious. Two of you were exact opposite. Don't love the blue raspberry with this. A little lighter. Okay. I might go with the Cookie Monster. We'll set this one aside because we are really bright and getting really dark, but this could be my sometimes color. So let's put that back. Then I had a couple of greens because I do like to at least have one green if I can, especially if I think it's going to be something floral. And I grabbed Lime Zest, which is my always favorite. And you know what? Green might just have to go out of this. And Pea Pod. Let's go back to my oranges. I kind of wanted an orange in there. Let me bring these three back and we'll talk another pink or orange. I just grabbed scraps, so these are all, some of them are cut funny or dirty or whatever. I feel like this might be a sometimes color. That was Peaches. I like Guava for a lighter tone, but again, I'm still trying to get myself out of my Guava rut. And of course, Bubblegum will always be good, I believe. So let me make sure I've got that color name right. Yep, Bubblegum will always be good, and I like that. So I think you need orange. You need more oranges. I agree with you. There's a comment that we need more oranges. I agree. It's kind of funny. I feel like we have looked and we've wanted something along the lines of a papaya. I've wanted something a little brighter than candy corn. We'll get there. We'll keep adding. But this is sweet potato, and let me just grab candy corn. I'm pretty sure I counted out candy corn earlier just because it was so light in tone, but it might be all right. What do you think? Because here's Peaches again, and I really want to leave that Bubblegum. I'm going to leave that one. But there you go. That's kind of my process and how I get there. I'm definitely taking away the dried fig. Just don't care for that one as much. I feel like it's lightening up my, or kind of, what do we want to say, dusty or gray. So I'm going to get rid of that one. And then, yeah, I might put, I don't know, I'm having a hard time. This is where I could debate for hours. So, but I feel like I'm getting there at least with this color palette. I feel like my blue raspberry could be a sometimes color for me, just to kind of throw that in there. I just don't like the peaches. Maybe I'll bring a green back just to have one more color. Oh, that's pretty good. Maybe I'll stick there. What do you think? My oranges could be, this is Pea Pod, which is a basic one, and it might be the color that kind of pulls things together without being so bright. So we have, eggplant. I want to make sure I've got my purples right. Yep, eggplant, dragon fruit, blueberry, Cookie Monster, bubblegum, and Pea Pod. I think I'm pretty happy with that one. What do you think? Would you any changes to that? I feel like, oh, someone said a lighter green. I didn't bring one with me. I could throw on Granny. Lime Zest I thought was a little too bright. Let's try Granny just for the heck of it quick. I didn't bring that. I feel like it's almost too light. Not a fan of the Pea Pod. Too muddy. Okay. Brighter. Let's see. Lime Zest was this one. So is this better? I was looking for the color that might kind of subdue things and bring it in. Mint Julep. Let's try that one. I have not tried the Mint Julep. That's a good idea. Okay, that's Key Lime. Nope. Here's Mint Julep. I don't love that one. Some are still saying they like the Pea Pod, so I might have to revisit this. I could literally keep you here for hours. So either way, I at least like where this went, and I can add something else in based on what I'm working with. Like if I'm working with a quad that's needs a green, and I say that lightly because now I know. No to the Mint Julep. Okay, at least we're all on board with that. It's always good to try things. That's why it's good to just grab your paper or your swatch. Like I could sometimes take this off the ring and mess my colors around a little bit. Let me see, is there another, I think dill pickle's too bright. Not as bad as I thought it would be. I don't like it with Cookie Monster though. That's a deal breaker. See, that's where sometimes I'm like, if I don't like something with one of the colors that I'm totally set on, I'll move on. But anyway, we'll move on. That's at least how I kind of come up with my colors. And I will save that for later and make a swatch out of it. So wanted to show you this one. It's not a finished project, but it's another one of the color cube items. So this is very similar to what I'm going to walk you through here. I used the butterflies, the Fluttering Friends, and these are the colors I ended up with, and it is from this color card. Again, I'm going to show you like this, because if what I chose and what's down here are two totally different things. If you want to follow and you find a color and you like that, follow it. But for me, I was going for something with these butterflies that I kind of wanted something a little more subdued, not so bright. Thought it could be a thinking of you or a hello friend card. If I wanted to do something brighter that was more of a birthday card or something like that, I might go brighter, or if I need the darker. And again, don't forget about all your color combos on the back, because this looks very much like our plum punch, and that could be really good with our eggplant. For me, I pulled out different colors, and that's where I came up with these. So the huckleberry, and I of course grabbed the macaroon from in here. And then I saw a lot of this confetti cake and sour gummy, and in the color cube, they didn't quite go that direction. So just to each their own, pick out your colors the way that you would like, but that's how I came up with these. Here's the cardstocks that I had kind of laid out. And again, I could keep adding because I see there's plenty more colors in here to add and add to it. But just to kind of keep it basic, I'm going to grab, and I wanted to show you blending these out and how I love that I don't have to clean in between. So I'm going to grab some of our teal tape with the new dispenser that came out this week. I just love this. I don't have to think about finding the end of that anymore. And if I use this for holding down stencils, I do like to detack it a little bit. But I do want to hold this in place. So I don't necessarily have to cover these areas, because if you use a smaller brush, you don't have to worry about it. So I'm going to start with my purples. Oh, I had a slight panic. I didn't have my purple brushes with me. So this is the macaron. I'm going to ink blend, and I start at the bottom, but that's personal choice, and lighten up as I go towards the top. And that would be my macaron. And then let's slide over one for the huckleberry, which this is another one of those colors, when you look at the cardstock, it's really deep, but it is a really awesome one to blend out. So I'm gonna go like this. I need to see what other colors are in this, so. Yep. Sometimes here and I'm sure you do at home too, have different colors that you use with a single brush, but this helps me to know that I'm getting a true color out of here. But you can make this huckleberry go very dark if you just keep blending. But that'll be my next color, and I'm gonna go this way with it. You can just scooch down, it doesn't matter. We've spaced them out far enough. I will say, just to let you know, these are not a perfect square. So make sure if you're like, oh, this isn't matching up, rotate it. It's not the exact perfect square. I guess I should leave those there just in case we want to debate colors. I'm gonna use confetti cake here for this one. So again, I gotta see what's in this. Yeah, that's pretty good. So again, going to put it dark, heavy hand towards the bottom and lighten up as I go up. don't know. Okay, so are you a person? Do you make cards like this for every new project? I don't. Honestly, I don't. A lot of times I do grab a card, so I've already got one made. But if it's something out of the ordinary or unique and I feel like I really loved how that comes together, that's when I do it. Or like I said, like if I've got that notebook and it inspired me and I'm like, that would be great for one of our floral quads and I want to hold on to it, that's when I make it. I can't say I've done it for every single card I've made. Sometimes I'm using colors together that are pretty not earth-shattering. Does that make sense? Like they're not anything out of the ordinary, so then I don't. But really up to you. I think I would have a lot of cards if I made one for everyone. Sometimes I come back and I'll find a color card that I've made for something and I'm like, oh, that's very similar. The new edition is like, I'm going to use honey this time, and I might add it over in the notes, just write myself a note, or if I have room to add a new color, I'll add it. So not every time. I would have a lot, I think. But if I don't know, I love color a lot, so I say if you're one that wants to, go for it. Because part of the thing with card making, sometimes I think it took me a long time to create that card, but then I also think it's the process. It's not only joy that I'm sending something out to a recipient, but it's also the process for me that brings me joy or peace or a little time to do something that makes me happy. So checking my notes, making sure I haven't missed anything. So again, this one is only 4 colors. I'll do 4, sometimes 3. This is something where I could, if I liked gold, silver, or champagne or something like that, I could add that in. Good time to do that. Then I will grab our, where did I set it? Inspiration colors. So we have the clear set that has all the color names on for you. It's not quite complete. Let me see, are any of these, it's hard for me to keep track of which ones are all in there and which ones are off on the smaller sets. I know like sweet corn and the ones that were just released this fall, those are not on here. So you have to buy just the little thing of the new colors. And I just used, oh, I almost used the wrong color. I just like to use black for stamping mine. But again, to each their own. If you want to stamp each of them in their exact color, do that. I choose to just use black. So we'll add our colors below. And we don't clean them here just because this is always in black. Taylor and I both stamp these out in black. Sometimes I'll grab a baby wipe and wipe them off, but not always. Huckleberry. Okay, so I see a little, I'm not exactly sure the full discussion, but I do know the Color Cube 1 is sold out on the company's website, so we have it right now. Don't forget if you want one. And then it's just different color cards. So this one is 208, so I know that one's from volume 1. And then Mary's saying that volume 2 has 251 to 500, which that sounds right from what I remember. And 1 is 1 to 25 because I've grabbed out of them. But again, maybe just try one, whichever one speaks to you for whatever reason. I think they're both great. I know I've shown you a couple examples from each one. It's beautiful to look through. It's so, oh, and I did it again. I stamped my sour gummy and sour gummy. I obviously cannot do 2 things at once, but it's okay. This is just for me, right? So, and then I will take a pen. I have our black Jelly Roll pen just because I started using this one and I really like the way it writes, and it's really dark in case I'm writing over top of ink. But I just do CC for Color Cube 208, and that's completely up to you. In my notes, sometimes I'll have like recycle bag, moth recycle bag, or that one where I had 2023 planner. it's completely up to you how you use your notes section. If you're a person that's into pattern paper or whatever you want to do, that's completely up to you. But that was that color card, and that's how my butterflies came together. So let me get this stuff out of the way. Clear off again. See, and it's so pretty, I think, in the cardstocks too. So if you liked doing the cardstock squares, you can keep doing that. Okay, so last but not least, this one was from Color Cube 2, and I was just looking for a little bit out of the box rainbow. Okay, I gotta tell you guys, while I set this up, the funniest thing, I just realized it this morning. Do any of you guys have dreams where you forget? Like you don't, I didn't wake up because it wasn't a bad dream. Well, I didn't think it was a bad dream, but, and then you don't remember the dream until something in real life triggered you about your real life dream. Does anyone else have that? I'm glad they're not all nightmares, right? Anyway, I had a dream last night that that somehow, I don't know if it was a policy for TE or a policy for Facebook, that after an hour, our Facebook lives were shut off. Why would I dream about this? But I had a dream that I was in the middle of my live and it just shut off because I wasn't done in 1 hour. Why would I even dream about that? Is that just me, or does anyone else dream about real life things and then roll my eyes as to why I would even bother with such a dream? So hopefully at 1 hour, because I'm 8 minutes away, it doesn't shut me off. So this color combo came from here, and I did use some liberties, obviously, because their red is a little more orange than what I wanted, because I see pinks in here. And this stencil only has 3 layers, and I kind of want to get a rainbow out of it. So I knew I didn't want to get carried away with my colors. So I picked Fruit Punch, which is a little more pinky than this one. And that goes along with what I said before. I'm not usually that bright, clean, what I wouldn't call it, kind of clear, true color. Candy corn, pretty basic. Then key lime, which is a little different. And I will admit my key lime comes out a little bit green because the brush, I use it for green. And then Cookie Monster, of course. And then the cinnamon is, do you see the lines that are in this? There's some lines and just a little bit of cinnamon in here. That's what I picked for the body. This one I did poppy seed, and then afterwards I was like, well, I shouldn't have just discounted the butterfly bodies. I should go with the color I see, which is cinnamon. So that's what we're gonna do. Let me grab my cinnamon ink pad. I'll stamp this. Okay. So I had to look up to see if anyone responded. I hope Darren, I can't read. Someone said all the time, I cannot catch your name without putting my glasses on. Hopefully you're talking about the dream thing, because it's weird. And it's always the next day. Like today I was in here setting up for the live, and I'm like, started to kind of giggle to myself because I'm like, I totally had a dream last night about 1 hour and the live's getting cut off. I don't know. Oh well. I'm going to double stamp this cinnamon because cinnamon can have kind of a light tone to it. And I kind of want it a little bit deeper and a little bit richer. So take that off. I did, if you noticed, used a little bit of that Easy Dot tape runner to hold my stencil in place. So I just like to get rid of that. Let me get that off of there. So we're ready to stencil. And then we have 3 layers, but I am using all the colors on all 3 layers. So we have layer 1. Make sure your etching is upright. I like to put my stencils in order before I start. Get this all aligned. I might put some of that tape back on here so I can keep it in place. This is one of those where I have to rotate it based on your stamp to get things in alignment. And there are, the stamp compared to the stencil, there are these little notches in the body of the butterfly that's what you should use to line up your stencil. So keep those, you'll see like here's a little etch in the middle of the butterfly body. Line those 2 up. So not every butterfly body has that little dot. I'm just going to call it a dot. It's kind of an oval in the middle. But when you find it, you'll know and you'll see it. So there's one there, there, there. They're not on all of them, like I said, but just make sure you find them and hit them. And we'll make sure your stencil, and then we're going to use the embossing folder, are all lined up. Okay. I could fuss at that all day, I think. Another thing I could spend all day messing with. So again, grab my teal tape, which I didn't grab right away. That's why I love this thing, because if you forget, you're good. It's here for you. I used to always say, do something your future self will thank you for, and that was making sure you had teal tape pulled off. But with this thing, it bails me out, so I love it. It's that sturdiness that's in there helps keep it so you can actually pull, and you don't have to find the end of your teal tape. I don't know about you all, but that was a frustration of mine, is getting my nails to get that first part of the teal tape going. So with these butterflies, what I did is each layer I'm going to blend with my rainbow as it is. I'm going to go from the top left corner to the bottom, top left corner to bottom right corner. But I'm just going to do swatches of my red, orange, green, blue. And I'm going to start with the first layer being a light hand, next one being a little medium, and then the last one heavy. So I'm not switching colors. I'm going to stay with Fruit Punch. I'm going to stay with each of those colors for all of these, just using a different hand on each one. So I don't have to overly think about my colors. You can have fun finding your gradients of each of the colors. You totally can. But if you'd like to just go simple, this is a simple way to go about it. And this is how I did the card that is on the website. I've just had people ask me about it. So here we're going to come in with our candy corn. Again, I'm trying to think light, light, and then make sure you blend one color into the next color. I don't want a ton of overlap between my candy corn and key lime, just because they don't play so nice together. But as long as you go in with a light hand, you'll be fine. Let's go with this one. I've lost my brush. Oh, here it is. I'm not sure how in the office, but our one of our light blue brushes became green. So don't be confused. But again, light hand, I'm just going to barely overlap with that orange, just because I don't want a ton. Light, and then last but not least, we'll come in with Cookie Monster. To remind myself light, I feel like I kind of went heavy there. All right, then. So that's all I did. I'm going to use those exact 3 colors on the next layer. That peeled up. See how light-handed that is? So we'll go with the next one. Okay, let me see. I should have paid attention to where my etching was on this one. It's up in here. That way I don't have to find which is the right side up again. And again, here's these little openings to help you line up your stencil. There we go. That one came a little bit easier. I kind of like, they have more of like a teardrop shape to them. Easier to find and line up, I think. Okay. Put that down. Now this time, I'm going to work backwards because my Cookie Monster is right here. I'm going to do a medium hand with this one. And you can see through your stencil to see where each of these colors are that you had going on here. I think I need to make that part just a little bit more medium. Key lime. Let's keep working backwards. This was kind of the color that was trying to get me out of my rut, was using this key lime. I never use it, but I thought this color was more mint or more, I don't know, other than key lime. It's a perfect description of it. was the perfect kind of not pea pod, not dill green for, put that there. Now we'll go, I think I need to go just a little bit more with that. Cookie, or this is candy corn. And I don't really need to go all the way out to the edges because I'm not going to use all of it. But I can't help myself to go all the way to the edges. Oh, good for you. Mary got replenishing her birthday card stash. Good for you. I need to do that. I think I might have a nephew that I've either missed his birthday or something. I've got to get on that. I'm terrible. I make these cards and they're always late. Need to be better about that. I have a friend down in Texas and she sends me a birthday card every year and it's always early. I'm always like, how do you do this? I'm terrible. It's a thought that counts, right? As long as it shows up. Trying to go a little bit heavier with this layer. Let's see how we did. Yep, so you can see my variation. So it looks like I used 2 colors, but I didn't. And you can absolutely, if you enjoy that, do that. I just really wanted these colors and I didn't have a lot of variation in the key lime. So I was like, I'm just going to go ahead and do it this way. So this is my last layer again, these dots in the body of the butterfly. Wow, that one, don't you love it when you put it down and you're like, oh, that was easy. That one went fast. Okay, last layer, and this time heavy-handed, and I still have my fruit punch out, so I'm going to be pretty heavy-handed with this one. But again, I can see through my stencil to see what area or how far I went. This is kind of the fun part. I feel like I don't have to think because I can just go heavy. If you're like me, when I get heavy-handed, sometimes I start to press really hard. Just make sure you're not shifting your stencil. Sometimes if you have to add more pressure or you're not getting any more ink, grab some more ink. Okay, so we're done with the fruit punch, candy corn. Oh, we've hit an hour and we didn't go away yet, did we? Gail, use it. I'm so glad. She said I'm giving her inspiration to use it. She hasn't used it yet. This is one of those that I feel like it can really have fun with color because it's 3 layers and butterflies literally use your imagination. They can be whatever color you want them to be. Okay, I'm getting into my green a little bit with the orange, so I'm going to be careful and stop here. But I feel like a pretty heavy hand going on there. Key lime, getting there. I might just walk you through once we get this embossed how I finished this card. Oh, I moved that one. Heavier hand. Green can kind of not play nice sometimes, so I'm going to kind of try to keep away from my orange so I don't have too much brown. So we'll go with that. And then last but not least, our last color is Cookie Monster. Get to be heavy-handed with this one. So I will say my card, this is, I believe, blue raspberry. Oh wait, this is blue raspberry, but my card base is Cookie Monster. I think that's just the contamination in my brush. So I was able to add, I could even put that over in the notes or something, that I also liked a little blue raspberry in this one. I just felt like the blue raspberry stood out a little bit more because I did do one in Cookie Monster. I just liked how that stood out a little bit more, but I did use Cookie Monster for my card base. So let's peel this up and show you my butterflies. Hopefully they have a nice 3-layer gradient. Isn't that pretty? Oh my gosh, I love it. And again, it's close to a regular rainbow, but that key lime kind of stepped me out of my comfort zone, I felt like, and that was something I was after. Let me get this out of the way. We'll clean this up. I use a little bit of teal tape to get rid of that tape runner. I don't know how else to get rid of it. Let me clean this quick so we don't have a mess. We go to work with the rest of the card. Clean up my stencils later. Let's grab, I want to show you, I might not finish the card, but I want to show you that embossing folder and how pretty that turns out. So this stencil set comes with the Fluttering Friends 3D embossing folder. And with that, you do have to use a little bit different sandwich. And I have to put my glasses on for this. Sometimes I do find I've got to cut off a little bit of my 6x6 cardstock to make it fit in there properly. Just don't be shy about doing that if you want to, if you need it. Because sometimes the cardstock up here wants to bump into the top of my embossing folder, which it is, so I'm just going to chop it off really quick. I need that space. Oh. I thought I had that lined up. Hold, please. We'll get it there. No, no, no. Didn't I have the blue up here? It's not this hard, I swear. I think it's because you're watching me. You have to line up your butterflies. I'm losing it. I thought it was this way. Oh. Can you guys forgive me? I couldn't see the Fluttering Friends. It's if you're going upright, which obviously I had all my stencils with the etching upright, which is very important. I didn't say that. Make extra sure your etching is upright if you want things to layer properly. And I knew this teal butterfly was up in this corner. It was because I had my embossing folder flipped on the back side. That's why it wasn't matching up. So forgive me. Sorry about that. Thanks for sticking with me and holding, please. That's hilarious. Well, just FYI for you all to know, you need to make sure you can see the name of the embossing folder. That's hilarious. That was not in my dream, but it should have been. That was almost a nightmare. Okay, got that lined up. When you use to emboss a 3D embossing folder, which this one is a 3D embossing folder, you want to get rid of, for a Sizzix machine, you want to get rid of this and go to the platform that has kind of your instructions on it, and it'll tell you to use the standard platform. And with the 3D embossing folders, at least the TE ones, you need our embossing pad kit, and I like to just use the thick one. I'm going to lay that down in there, and then I'm going to I do like to take a baby wipe, and I could have done this before I had it all lined up, but before we started, I put a baby wipe into one of our new cup holders, which it also holds my glue, which I have 2 of them, but I love them for the baby wipes. So I just like to just run it over the back just a little bit. Don't be aggressive about it because you don't want to start making your cardstock pill. And I always put the hinge in first. Just put it puts a little moisture on the back of your cardstock to help the fibers kind of bend. Run that through. So I use the platform, the thicker squishy mat of the embossing mat, and just one of the cutting plates. That's what you need for the sandwich if you're using a Sizzix. And again, that is our 3D embossing folders. Every company's 3D embossing folders work a little different, but there you go. There's our butterflies. And I might just walk you through the rest of the card because we are way over an hour. Thanks for sticking with me, but I had fun. hopefully you guys have saved that color combo. I'm gonna have to come back and quite finish the notebook. But so I use our art with all my art stamp, and I did the wishing you a colorful day, and I embossed it in white on blue raspberry. I of course have a vellum circle that I always cut double because I feel like it mutes it just a little bit more, especially with something this colorful. I will take 2 layers of my circles, and you can either use our regular circle stacklets or the stitched ones, and I use 2 of them to land my sentiment. And then I used the rhinestones, and I used 4 different rhinestones. I did not use red because I felt like our red in our bits and pieces is a little orangey, or it's not pinky. So I went with the pink, the orange, our green, and then teal. And I added those in between my butterflies just with a little bit of liquid glue. So I hope you like it, and I really cannot wait to see some of your color card combos. I am not kidding. On the TE Facebook fan page, if I find a color combo I love, I save it, and I've made cards out of them. So keep sharing. We can all use the inspiration between each other, and can't wait to see what you do with it. Well, I hope you have a good day. Don't forget, the sign up for Stamp Joy Virtual is November 19th, and I'm not sure. We were very low on advent calendars before I started, so hopefully if you wanted one, you got it. And then I hope you have a great weekend. Thanks for joining.